The Pittsburgh Pirates last year once again had a rough year. 62-100 was the record in 2022. However, they did have some young players make some big impacts, so there is some bright spots in Pittsburgh heading into 2023. So what's the plans for 2023 for them? Who are the key players, key moves in the offseason, all that stuff? We're going to cover that right here on the Pittsburgh Pirates team profile. My name is Derek. I'm here with John. You're watching Bleacher Brawls, and let's get straight into it. So as I said, 62-100 was the Pirates record in 2022 last year. Not a great year, obviously, 62-100, obviously. But they do have some bright spots. So some of their key players, I'll let John go. Who are three of their key players, and who would you single out as the true key guy for this franchise?
Well, I'm going to go with O'Neal Cruz, who, as some people know, some people don't know, is named after Paul O'Neill. I'm going to go with Ke'Bryan Hayes, because he's Charlie Hayes' son, and Charlie Hayes caught the game-winning or World Series winning final out in 1996. And just to change things up a little, I'm actually going to mention Andrew McCutchen, not because he played for the Yankees for a minute. So there's three guys, three connected to the Yankees, but there's still all key guys for this team. For me, I'm happy to see McCutchen back to finish his career with the Pirates. Well, it looks like he's going to finish his career with the Pirates, but I'm going to single out O'Neal Cruz. I think this guy's got a ton of raw talent. He's an imposing guy, this big 6'7" guy, like even the batter's box is something else. And I think if he can really start to put it together, he can be a very, very productive player for a Pittsburgh Pirates team.
Yeah, that left side of the infield could be very scary with Ke'Bryan Hayes and O'Neal Cruz. I talked a little bit about Ke'Bryan Hayes in one of my columns back in January, so you can check that one out because I'm predicting him to win a Gold Glove this year. His defense is that elite, obviously. And a couple names I'll mention is David Bednar and Roansy Contreras as well. And obviously Brian Reynolds, the big name, because he's been in trade discussions. But I do want to talk about Ke'Bryan Hayes. So I think Ke'Bryan Hayes, he has that defense. I think he's been honestly better than Arenado defensively the last 2 years. He's just been kind of shafted by the voters in a sense of Arenado's got the name already, and he's the guy and best defensive player in the league. And it's Ke'Bryan Hayes just stuck hello, I'm here, but he's stuck in Pittsburgh at the same time. And the bat, I like the bat too. I think he's got, all the potential to be a key player. And they locked him up to, I think it was an 8-year extension last year or something or maybe sometime, I think it was. So, if my memory's serving me right, I think that's right. So yeah, just stellar talent, and I think he's got a bright future ahead of him. And that's kind of the key for this Pirates team, bright future, and try and build. Obviously, they had some moves in this offseason. Some of those moves.
Before we get to that, Derek, can I just say real quick? I meant to say Brian Reynolds. I did not. There's a reason I did not mention him because I don't think he's going to be a part of this team for much longer. But the other thing I forgot, two things I forgot. Sorry, Joey, I spaced. I totally forgot. I'm sorry. I meant to be on time. I'm sorry that I'm late. Here's your sign. There you go. I'm late, but I'm sure you could understand, Joey. But anyway, on to the next segment.
Yes, part of John's fantasy football punishment.
Sorry, Joey, I was late.
Yes, typical Joey because Joey likes being late. But no, moving on about this Pirates team though, they've made some moves this offseason. They obviously, like you said, they brought back Andrew McCutchen. I think that was a feel-good story, bringing him back, and hopefully, he can have a good year. I mean, they traded for G-Man Choi. They brought in Carlos Santana, Rich Hill, others obvious as well. So they brought in some veteran guys, I'm guessing, to help out this young core. They have a lot of young guys there. You're looking at it, what's the big move of this offseason? I mean, it's probably Andrew McCutchen, right?
It has to be, because what else is there? It's not like bringing in Rich Hill is not a good thing, So I think it has to be Andrew McCutchen, and it's not because Andrew McCutchen is necessarily going to help you win at this point. It's just a feel-good story for the fans, which that fan base deserves something, right? And I mean, if that's what it is, they get to see Andrew McCutchen finish his career there, great. Because what else? If you're a Pittsburgh Pirates fan, you are probably one of the best fans in the sport of baseball, because you stayed loyal to this team for years, where this ownership has treated you terribly. That ownership should be forced to sell the team, and you deserve much better. So I'm to all Pittsburgh Pirates fans out there, the fact that Andrew McCutchen was the big move of the year and probably the biggest move in a couple of years, like I'm sorry that you have to deal with that. It's not fair for that ownership. You please sell that team.
Yeah, I think it's rough. That ownership is really rough. I do like a couple, like bringing a guy like G-Man Choi, who's fan favorite. And maybe that's just more of ownership saying, "Hey, we need to attract fans and we need their money." But I like to think there's a good-hearted. He's a fan favorite, good clubhouse guy. Me living in Florida with some Rays coverage around, you hear a lot of good. I've heard tons of good stuff about G-Man Choi. I don't think I've ever heard anyone say a bad word about him ever. He's loved by the Rays fans. Yes, the Rays do have fans. It's just the Trop is located terribly. That's a whole nother thing, though. And then Carlos Santana, another veteran guy, to help hopefully lead these young guys. So I think that's kind of a key thing. They brought in a lot of veteran guys to help lead this kind of young core they have. And it's not just a young core in the big leagues. Henry Davis was the number one overall pick. Tamar Johnson, I'm so high. He's drawing comparisons to a guy like Rafael Devers if Devers was a second baseman. Like the hit tool is like rated on 70 on the 2080 scale. Like elite hit tool for Tamar Johnson at second base. So, and he's obviously still in the lower minors still, but like the Pittsburgh's building a very good farm system under a guy in Ben Cherington, who proved he can build a farm system in Boston with guys like Devers and Mookie Betts and yada, yada, yada. And, go on that whole list of that time when Cherington was in charge. And, like, he can build a farm system, and he's doing it in Pittsburgh. So at least Pirates fans have that.
I hope so. They deserve something. I have my cousin Tim. We'll call him King. He's a Pittsburgh fan. Diehard Pittsburgh Steelers, diehard Pittsburgh Penguins, and he lost faith in the Pirates years ago. He had a really cool Roberto Clemente jersey. I mean, we're talking a fan who really, truly cared about that team, and it just gets to the point where the fact that this ownership doesn't seem to care about their fans, it's sad, and it turned a lot of people away because as much as hey, Pittsburgh, I don't like you as a sports city. I don't like the Penguins. I don't like the Steelers, but you are very loyal fans, and you deserve better than what you're dealing with here. I'm glad, like you said, Ben Cherington, I'm glad he's doing something there. I hope that ownership doesn't screw it up and force him to trade or fire him for some reason. I hope it doesn't get screwed up. And I hope this is a team that could really make the playoffs, make a run. I would never root for anyone but the Yankees to win a World Series. Maybe the San Francisco Giants in a certain situation that the Yankees weren't involved, but Pittsburgh fans, you deserve something because this team's been bad for a long time.
Yeah, and even when they had Andrew McCutchen in his prime, they weren't amazing. They had a couple of wild card runs, but there was never enough. And they had a guy I think they had some other pieces there, just they never had enough pieces. And you get worried with this young core that they're building that at some point they're not going to have enough pieces, and there's just not going to be enough added to the pieces that they do have to make them a legit contender in the future. But I think really for 23, it's just for them, just continue rebuilding, develop your young players that are in the big leagues, like O'Neal Cruz and Roansy Contreras and et cetera, and just continue developing the farm system. Henry Davis, Tamar Johnson, just go on and on. Like a guy I really like who might be on the big league roster this year, Ji-Hwan Bae, who, we'll see what he does. Maybe he gets a bench role out of spring training. He's at Fangraphs has him projected on the bench. I like him a lot. So there's definitely, guys there in that system, higher ranked, maybe not as high ranked, but that could contribute in the big leagues though, maybe at some point. So it's just, that's kind of their thing. They just got to continue building for the future, I think. And with a guy like Cherington, they could do it.
Good luck. Good luck, man.
Yeah. That having those owners behind you, it's gonna be rough from a front office perspective. But hopefully they can go out and do it. And because they deserve that Pittsburgh fan base deserves some success, just any success. That's a good place to end it off. This Pittsburgh Pirates team profile. Make sure if you haven't seen any of our other team profiles, actually this might be only the second or third one. So there might not be many out there, but there'll be a playlist. So if you're late coming to this video, the playlist will be in the first link in the description. You can watch all the other ones that we've done up to the point when you're seeing this. Check out all our other links down there in the description. Bleach Ball's website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post. And yeah, for John, my name is Derek. Thanks for tuning into Bleacher Brawls. Also, comment. Let us know your thoughts on the Pirates heading into 23. Let us know, especially if you're a Pirates fan. Let us know. We'd like to know. So yeah, please do that too. Thanks for tuning in Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.